Hello friends and welcome to Saitama Stacker channel. My name's Dean. If you are watching my videos for the first time, please know I only make them for entertainment, education, and for community building around the Saitama token. So please do your own research before investing. Folks, can I say how nice it is to just have some good news, okay? As somebody who generally tends to try to look on the bright side, I try to be realistic, but at the same time, I try to be optimistic. I just think life's too short to not try to find the glass half full perspective on things. But it has been a tough pull for the last 3 weeks and realistically from middle of November up until now. And so it's nice to have a day where you feel like your hunch or your intuition might be right, And so as you can see here, Saitama up big today. Now, I work in a medical clinic, my real life, my real job, and I work with an administrative team. We're both managing a medical clinic and working on a commercial development. And because of COVID and some of the fact that the other administrative people are out, I ended up working today. And normally on Fridays, it's my day off. But I was unable to watch today's AMA with the development team in real time. And at a certain point, I just flipped open my phone and checked my wallet, and I knew something good had happened on the AMA. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what my observation was on the AMA. There's a couple of really good questions that I think I can answer fairly easily in my Twitter feed. And I wanted to give you a little perspective on Rust because, people will say things, but it's hard to sometimes read between the lines of what that actually means. And somebody posted something today about Russell's military service that should give us a little bit of perspective on what kind of nerves a person might have, what ability someone might have to be able to work under pressure. So let's take a look at the fundamentals. Today is a fascinating day for that. And then we'll kind of, get a general state of the union here. So today we saw an increase in holders. Okay, this is all based on some good news from today's AMA. And I was suspicious last night that we'd be seeing this. And that's what they gave us and a little bit more. So 321,600 holders or wallets, an increase of 753. Our market cap jumped up dramatically, not quite 400 million, but considerably close to 400 million, more than 350 million. And that boosted our ranking back up to number 84 of all cryptos. And I don't want to be ever again down at the 100 level or beyond. Okay, this project to really be strong and robust long term, we need to stay in that top 100. The investors that don't want to go digging through 16,000 DeFi projects, they're so much more likely to invest in a project in the top 100 because those are the ones that are reported on the most. They're the ones on the front screen of both CoinGecko and CoinMarketCap. So this is good. Okay, this is good. It was a relief. It was a chance to take a little bit of a breath. And so I'm excited about that. Price 7027. The volume highest it's been on my screen here so we're talking 10 days or maybe more. Going back, let's just pan over and see what date this is, to the 9th. So 9th to the 20, we're talking 20 days worth of data here. Best volume we've seen at lower prices, which means the burn and reflections are going to be good today. And indeed they are. So the burn is ticked up to 56.22%. The current volume against the price would suggest it would take 42 days to burn 1% or 8.6% per year. This is where we start to get a taste of what this hyper burn could be. Okay, 32 million is not high volume. Shiba Inu had volume of 32 billion and more. Okay, so this could be amazing as this builds and grows. Of course, it's very relative to what the volume is to the price, but if the burn isn't going fast, but the price goes up by 1,000%, we're all going to be okay with that too. So, but this is just a demonstration. It's why the volume is such a key figure. It's something that I key in on a lot because the volume drives the burn, and the less coins there are, the more valuable the remaining coins are. 10-day average for the burn bounced up to 5.3%, and 10 trillion tokens. What a beautiful number. All nines across the board there. Couldn't have one more token, but 10 trillion tokens burned in the last 24 hours. All right, so why is this? What's going on? Well, let's start with the AMA. So in today's AMA, somewhat different from what we've seen for the last several AMAs, most of the development team was on board. We had Aaron, we had Manny, Russell, Gabriel, and Max, and one of the developers that works with Max, and his name, it popped up, and I've seen it a couple times, Crypto somebody. But the only person I didn't see in the room there is Nam, so we'll be looking for Nam. We know he signed off on the letter here recently that the development team put out, or at least his name was listed on there. I mean, they're all over the world, so they're not all going to sign it. But the AMA in the first 30 minutes was an overview of what some of the problems have been with Saitamask, how Max and his team of engineers are trying to address those, and then finally an announcement of when Saitamask will go live. And the answer to that was Sunday. And it's not going to be like a surprise, like we have to watch all the time. Russell said most likely they would give a little ticker so that we would know when that was going to go live. And then Lily Token will launch the following Tuesday. Now, I said this in last night's video, but it is absolutely critical that this work well when it comes out, that it functions as advertised. It looks beautiful. It's, I know they've been putting an insane amount of time into it. We know that the security side of it and the functionality was audited by Certic. So those guys are top of their class with doing these audits. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed, but I'm feeling pretty good about it. And so is the community. Hence, currently up 44% in the last 24 hours. Now, after halfway, they took some questions, but right before that, Gabriel, who's the gentleman in the bottom center, Gabriel is a developer from Brazil who is working on the NFT platform and the play-to-earn game platforms. And he showed just a couple of things from his phone, and it was really kind of hard to get a read, but what it showed is that the NFT platform is well underway. This isn't something that we're looking at for a year in the future. It's in development. He showed us on his phone what it looks like. It has a similar theme to Saitama. And he said that he just wants to make sure that all the details are perfect. So I'm very interested in that. I actually own a Saitama NFT. As a matter of fact, the little thumbnail that you see on my videos, that wolf that's on there, that was an NFT that I bought during a Saitama AMA back in October. So I don't know how to sell the NFT. I don't know how to price the NFT. I could go to OpenSea and try to list it, but how does it not get lost in an ocean of things? And what price should I be asking for it? Or is there an auction way to do it? You know, I'm actually waiting for the official Saitama NFT platform. And I'm not saying I'm going to sell it right away, but I would like to know, like, how does that process work? I'm just not very well versed in it, quite frankly. All right, the last 30 minutes of the AMA were more Q&A, and they went through, as you can see, I still have about 12, 14 minutes left to watch of the AMA, but it's getting late, and I need to get this content out for tonight. So if you haven't seen this, I will put a link in the description. I think it's well worth the watch. If you're following me on Twitter, I also have a link in my Twitter feed. You can click right through from there. All right. So 2 things off of Twitter. my post yesterday, there were two interesting questions. The first one says, can you do a video on how to calculate the amount of Saitama to swap for Lily? Let's say if I want 800 USD in Lily, how many Saitama tokens would need to be swapped? So I just so happen to have made at some point in history this little spreadsheet that I called the fun calculator. So it has three different ways of looking at tokens, but if you wanted to put in like this lower one here, say he just said $800. So I would put in 800 US dollars, and then I would have to put in the price of Saitama. So the current price of Saitama was 70287. 70287. So let's see, there's 4, 5, 6, 7, 287. So that will tell us it would be 27,874,000 Saitama tokens would equal 800 US dollars. So I'm going to put a link to the fun calculator in the show notes today. You're welcome to have it for free. All you have to do is click File, make a copy, rename it, and then save it or hit OK, and it will save in your Google Drive, and you can do whatever you want with that. The one that you find in the link will be locked, but you just file, make a copy, and go nuts. It's actually kind of fun. I kind of made it for dreaming. Like, you know, if I have, this is 100 billion tokens, and I want to have $2 million in US value, what price would be required for that? Well, here's the answer, 4 zeros too. This is, if I had this many, I can just put any price in and what value of dollars is going to spit out of that. So it's kind of the reverse of the first scenario. And then at the bottom, if I put in a price and what value I want to spend there, it will tell me how many tokens I would need for that. So for your question, there's the answer. Link in the description. Help yourself. It is kind of fun to play around with, hence the fun calculator. Now, this person here says Saitamask charts. I'm guessing this is charts. Has no Saitama token. Why? So they're not finding the Saitama token in Saitamask. Well, let me show you something. I discovered this on my live the other day, but here is my Saitamask app, and you can see this center. I can't really point to the screen, but you see the little logo for Saitama at the bottom, right above the paw print. Well, that is the Saitama token. So if you go into one of these other ones and you're saying, here's all the coins, but if I go in and I try to search for Saitama, it's not in there. Why is it not in there? Well, I kind of saw the same thing the other night, had the same kind of questions. The reason is because this little logo here, that is your Saitama token. So if you just scroll up the screen, there's a chart for Saitama for the last day. You can change it to a week view. You can change it to a month, to a year. But also down below, it gives you the performance of the token. So it is there, and you will be able to buy it here. I'm assuming transferring Ethereum into the wallet and then making a swap. So it's there. We're all getting used to this, and we'll keep doing more and more tutorials as Saitamask goes live on Sunday. I'll definitely be making a purchase of something or a swap of something to show you guys how that works for me. So the one last thing I want to show you on Twitter, I talked about some post that somebody had put about Russell's military service and maybe what that would tell us about his ability to deal with the pressure associated with this project. And lately it's been crazy. It's there's been a lot. So if you dive into this, there is a Navy and Marine Corps Achievement Medal certificate, and it talks a little bit about the type of service that Russell had done between May 2004 and September of 2004. Now, I kind of researched this a little bit and tried to get a better understanding. I have no military background, though my dad was a lieutenant colonel in the military. But personally, I have no military experience. And what I'm seeing here is it looks like Russell worked support on a aircraft carrier. And it mentions displaying outstanding professional ability. He assisted in the supervision and handling of 6,700 fixed wing launch and recoveries, 8,000 aircraft moves, and 1,200 aircraft elevator runs without mishap, directly contributing to what looks like a 98% sortie completion rate. His managerial ability, personal initiative, and unswerving devotion to duty reflected credit upon himself and were in keeping with the highest traditions of United States Naval Service. So thank you for your service, and all those who serve. But serving in wartime on a ship like that and being involved in just trying to navigate the stress and pressure of moving these millions of dollar, hundreds of millions of dollars aircrafts around, and sending people out on combat stuff and bringing them back in. I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot of pressure. I can't even imagine, quite frankly. But that's the kind of background and experience Russell has, which may be where a lot of his confidence comes from. And it's the charisma that drew me to the project back in August. It was an AMA that I saw where I said, wow, these guys are laying out this vision that if they can actually do what they're saying they're going to do, this could be huge. And that's when I jumped in and put my support behind the token. So I just think it's a nice observation to have a little bit of history, to add to the transparency that we already have. So Russell, thanks for your service. And now let's take a look at reflections. So I have received just under 100 million free Saitama tokens in the last 24 hours. That brings my total since November 21st to 3.628 billion tokens. And at the current price, which we said was 27, let's take a look. 28, still ticking up a little, 286. All right, 286. That would mean my reflections are now worth $103 since November 21st. Friends, it feels good to have a nice day. It feels good to have an up day. I'm happy for us in the Saitama community to have some new strength and vigor in the project. Sunday, hopefully even better. And, Tuesday, the launch of the Lily token. They also announced in that AMA there are some other big marketing things coming up, some partnerships that we're working on. The AMA is well worth the watch, and you can see what kind of confidence it's instilled into investors. So take a look at it, link in the description. Folks, have an amazing night. Check back with me soon. We will watch our Saitama stacks grow together.